Ravindra Swami is one of the well-known saints in southern part of the country. It's, of course, even in north, there are some establishments. He has went into Samadhi alive. He went into Brindavan alive, and he is supposed to have, a lot of people have got a lot of whatever their wishes, whatever, a lot of miracles have taken place. People have got sort of a lot of solutions to their problems. And apart from that, he is also a great scholar. He has written in all the scriptures. In fact, he has got the uh, he has written the treatise on all the 10 Upanishads. In fact, barring one, he has written all other things. The other one, he left it to one of his sishyas to do it. Likewise, he's a scholar as well as he has also got a lot of. He was born in Tamil Nadu. In fact, he was born in Tamil Nadu, somewhere in near Tanjavur. And during his younger days, and I think once he got this, sort of, he was always inclined to be a saint. Though he was in a married life, he had the married life also. He was very much, into the married life. But some of the fate brought him into the sainthood, and he came into that. So then, when there was a drought in Chola kingdom. He was supposed to have done the penance, and he has brought the rains to that place. That's how he has been sort of worshipped everywhere. He has got a lot of establishment all over south. Today is the main day in which he is supposed to have entered into Samadhi alive. Today it is being mostly, we also go there because now, because of the crowd and other things, we get it done in the house. In the evenings, we go and visit. That's how it happens. Prabhu has got a lot of association in Bangalore, so he couldn't come.
Vrindavan is in Tirukoilur, isn't that same place?
No, that is Tirukovilur is another Swamiji called Raghotama Tirtha. Raghotama Tirtha. He is also a sort of a similar saint, and
I had an opportunity to go there. I mean, it was a lot of patrons, lot of patrons.
And his that entire Brindavanam is wide open, because they were trying to construct. He said, let it be exposed to the air and rain, because nothing need to be constructed. That's how they got it at all. This is in Mantralayam. Mantralayam is.
That is. Sorry.
Today, Mantralayam will be having more than few lakhs. The crowd would have assembled there.
Mantralayam. Yeah, that's where.
It is an auspicious day as it is. We will also commence our proceedings. Welcome Shankar. Welcome all of you for our Kathopanishad session. We will commence with our prayers. Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimad Ananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnamaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyadi Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Madiprabodhan Vadan Narasya Kritavan Bhuvitatva Sarveswaro Haririti Pratipata Tam Ananda Tirtha Munivarayam Namami Pujjaya Raghavendraya Satyadharma Rataya Cham Bhajatam Kalpavrikshaya Namatam Kamadhenuvem Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi Tejasvinavadidamastu ma Vishvidavahaihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome friends, we are into the third Valli of Kathopanishad, the most important Valli. In that, because we have got the famous metaphor, because which is being used in Bhagavad Gita as well as in some other scriptures also. Got the metaphor of the chariot metaphor. That's what we were discussing. The chariot metaphor is basically to bring in how we can lead a life into this world. The metaphor gives sort of the entire the person, a life, the soul and the jiva is being compared to a chariot. Just for the purpose of recollection only. This is very well dealt with by all the masters. In fact, Vivekananda has taken it to the highest level, and from the buzzwords, he has taken from this Valli only. That also we will talk about it. So in that, because the entire body is being considered to be a chariot. Chariot is, something, an equipment, which you can use it, like a car, like it has got the gears and it has everything and all. Likewise, it has got the 5 horses. The 5 horses are the 5 senses. The 5 senses, which are supposed to be interacting with the world, and you will be, the road in which you will be traveling is all the objects and the experiences which we are going to derive. All the objects are colorful and they will be taking you into the world, because all the horses are the senses. They get the first experience through their interaction with that road only. So the entire chariot and the 5 horses are being driven by the intellect, the buddhi, the mind. But through the bridle of the by the intellect, and the mind is the bridle, which is the one connecting the horses to the intellect, who is the charioteer, who is driving it. So when the bridle is well connected to the senses, the horses will be able to will be controlled by the intellect. So the connection to the horses are very important. The senses are like that. The metaphor has been given because when you are into this world, because you are only driving through your senses, the senses have to be controlled. The way the senses take you, you have your experience in this world. And who is riding the charioteer? It is supposed to be the soul, or jiva, you can call it. The self, what they call it. The self is the one who is riding the chariot. The driving, whatever the experience of your driving in this world, whatever your experiences will be depending upon how the senses are able to take you through the road. The senses will be able to take you through the road as long as the mind, which is having the bridle, through which, it is being controlled. So the mind, if it is controlled, then naturally the bridle will be in place. All the 5 horses to run through sync. They will have to run in a sync. They can't go because they have got a tendency to go amok. They are impetuous. The senses are just an object. So if your gearbox doesn't work, you will not be able to drive the car. The gear is the one give you the appropriate gear when you have to go uphill, or when you go down, or when you go onto the surface, the whatever, the plane surface. Likewise, the mind is the one finally has to convey, whatever has to be done to the senses and get the feedback from the senses. It will be able to get the feedback only from the intellect, which has the discriminating power, will be able to tell the mind, it will be able to control the mind so that, the bridle is well in control, the horses take the course properly. This is basically is given because how the discriminating power, what we call as a Shreyas and Preyas, we have discussed a lot. The Shreyas is the one, which is giving the discriminating power to the intellect. And the Preyas is the one which is giving, because the pleasurable experiences that is available in the world. The senses are always, being taken to the pleasurable experiences. If they each one goes about in their own way, you will not be able to drive the chariot. This is what the metaphor is talking about. We are trying to see how the intellect is important in having a control over the mind, not controlling the mind. Senses are very important. In fact, last week when we talked about senses, everyone talks about sense control. It is a sort of a, it may give a different connotation altogether. You cannot be, senses are there to have the experiences. You cannot have the control on that. After all, you need a car in the sense you will have to have a gearbox, you will have to have a brake, you will have to have an accelerator, you will have to have the engine, and you will have to have the well-built car, built to the quality, because so that it can take you to the road. Everything is required. But how it is controlled is the driver who does it. And the energy that is given is the fuel. That fuel is the power, the life energy, what you get, what you call the grace of the God, or the life energy that comes is the fuel through which you are driving the car. The chariot is like that. The intellect gets the power, that the grace of the God gives the power to the intellect to give the discriminating ability. That is by practice. By when we do a yoga or meditation and all, what we are trying to bring in the improving and sharpening our discriminating ability and controlling the mind. The mind otherwise, can go waywards because the senses will take you to the different places. Senses as such, they don't have any control. You will have to have control over the senses. Senses are very important. In fact, last week we saw one particular verse from Tirumala's Tirumandiram which said, You need not have to restrict your senses, restrain your senses. You will have to allow the senses to function, but have a control over how it functions. It should function as you would like to. You should not be taken by the way it takes you there and all. They don't have any. They simply take, absorb, and give you the information. That is all. But how you are able to have a control over senses is by controlling yourself. And we talked about the chakras, how all the 5 chakras in our body helps us to have a control. The chakra meditation or any other meditation you do, that gives a sort of a dharana, because basically pranayama, yama and niyama, what we call, is the yama is the way which you do. Niyama is, there is a way, yama is what you are able to have access through the senses. Niyama is, there is a way to do it, the discipline by which you do it. Then yama, niyama, pranayama comes. When you have a pranayama, when you have a breath control, because breath is the one which we least bothered about. When we do everything and all, breathing is taking place. With breath only we are having the life force. We are able to do everything. But we don't give any scant attention. That is how the meditation and other practices have been brought about, so that you just have at least a time for yourself to observe your breath, which is the life force. Your robust health or your mental health, both depends upon your breath. Because if a pranayama is properly done, or if a pranayama is in control, you are able to regulate your pranayama in such a way, when you are able to see yourself, in line with, sync with your breath, in breath and out breath. That's why a lot of meditation have come, because now anapanasati they say, and kriya meditation they say. There is, I think, in inner engineering, so many meditative practices have come. They are all bringing the attention to our inner core. Because when you give inner core only through the breathing, you give the attention to the inner core. That you are giving a precious time to yourself. When you are able to give, that gives you, energize you, and bring you what we call dharana. Dharana is you are able to compose yourself. You are able to come into sort of when you are able to take yourself, into as a whole. Otherwise, we are all frittered away. When you go by the senses, when you are listening something, when you are totally, because not giving attention to any of the things, it is by habit, you will be doing it. The habit formation takes place because non-attention to our own inner core. That is how habits are formed. Habits may be good, habits may be bad. Good habits come by giving attention to your own self. By not giving attention, the habit forms. Because some other things we do, we know we don't have to do it, we should not do it. Despite that, we do it because by habit. Because you are habituated to do it. Habitual offender, when they say, a person doesn't necessarily commit an offense. Because, kleptomania, because people go and pick up, when they go for shopping and all. They all know, because it's not a good thing, because the habit, because there is some sort of excitement that comes in. Because when something is prevented, when something is told, you should not do it, the mind has habit of trying out, finding out how it is. Let me explain it. Once you do it, twice it becomes some sort of a affinity towards that. Third time it converts into habit. Fourth time onwards, it becomes a habit. It is like that, because whatever in the addiction of anything that takes place by habit, because everyone knows, the drugs are bad. Even the person, when he is in normal mind, he will say drugs are bad, but he become an addicted to drug because, because that part of the brain that takes you immediately, gives you sort of a message to the senses to go for that, you are able to do that. In order to then only, because they are being brought about, rehabilitation takes place, rehabilitation varieties of methods are there. Most of the methods are some sort of a meditation only. Even by medicine or tablets, whatever they do, finally it brings it to that. They give some sort of, because antidepressant, this and that and all. This is only to bring you to core of yourself, because you are frittered away yourself. So dharana is the one, which is finally we are able to compose ourselves, to know ourselves and to see ourselves, give attention to ourselves. Yama, niyama, pranayama, dharana, when you are able to do that, then we say pratyahara. Pratyahara is ahara to our senses. Ahara to your senses, supposing, because you are just looking into the serial, in a particular serial in a TV and all. So because you have got a lot of other things to do, you can't be wasting your time on the serial. But once you are addicted to serial, then you are giving to your senses. You give your eyes, you are feeding your eyes with the whatever coming into the TV and all. TV is not going to lose anything. It is all you are going to lose anything, whatever by seeing that. In TV has got a lot of good documentaries also. TV has got a lot of other things also, but you are being taken there because you are giving it to the Pratyahara is giving ahara to your senses. Pratyahara is don't give food to your senses. That's what it says. It's not, no control is that. Don't give food into the sense. For instance, if you go, because you will be wasting your time. If you get into, because even if you talk about drug or, you just to try to know what is the drug, it may take you, once you know about it, all the pros and cons. Maybe you will be able to advise lot of cons, but don't get into that. Even, for instance, even if you are experimented, leave it at the experimental stage itself. Don't leave it. That's how it all addiction takes place because of that. So in order to bring us out of our because when all our senses are susceptible to whatever food it gets, whatever food the mind gives it, the mind how it gives, because you are able to get a lot of thoughts. The thoughts when they come, thoughts come just like that. How it is a cognition, because all the senses, the scientifically you say they've got the cognition. Once it cognizes, whether it is the cognizes which is likable to you, not likable to you. If you have got a habit of liking something, automatically it becomes, the perception becomes into your thoughts. Cognition becomes a perception. The perception is the zone of liking. Then it becomes the thoughts. When the thought becomes, then it goes for some sort of a desire. The desire goes for a satisfaction. Once you get the satisfaction, it doesn't end there. This is what in Manusmriti also last we have quoted. It is also said in Bhagavatam. Once it gives the desire, the satisfaction, you feed it with the satisfaction to the desire, it grows into multiples, geometric proportions. So many other desires come. You get well late into that particular trap in which you've gone into. It is basically, it's not that you don't have to undue effort, don't have to torture yourself, you don't have to restrain yourself. That's what last week we talked about. Not that. Work on them, because have some time to you. You are not giving some time to you. How can you give some time to you? Because the breathing keeps you alive. Why don't you give some time to that? Have some sort of a meditation or some contemplation, or at least simply observe the breath. Normal breath without any effort. Kriya and all, they say you have to do at a pace, don't have to do all the kumbhaka, don't go for all those things. Simply be observing the breath and look for yourself. Then naturally, because the bliss, even when you go and pray in the prayer room or go to the temple and close your eyes for a few minutes, what happens is, without you being aware, you are getting into, you are just giving your attention to your breath. So then only you are able to see, because then you are able to see, the God or whoever, you are imagining at that point of time comes to your mind. That gets imprinted. We are not able to have more than half a second in Tirupati. That half a second we are able to have the imprint of that particular deity, the form in which it is there, the glory and all the ornaments, everything just comes to above. Maybe I think over a period of time it fades. That moment you are able to take it. At that moment, you are losing yourself into that. That's what it happens. So this is exactly, this technique has been given by the chariot metaphor. The chariot metaphor is so popular a metaphor. It's not only in our literature, it is there in all philosophies. In the Greek philosophies also it is there. In Greek philosophy also we have talked about how Plato has talked about the two horses. One is dark and grey, and which is taking you downward movement. The other one is immortal, white horse. It takes you to the ridge of the heaven. Once you give attention, once you are able to get through that, you are able to be in the possession of the divine, led by Zeus, because that is the Greek sort of god, who takes you to the ridge of the heaven. Otherwise, you come back. Depending upon how you are able to control the horses, but you'll have to think. Both horses are necessary. Once you are coming into this world, you are endowed with the option of having both the horses at your command. There is nothing that I will have only white horse and always I will be. It's not like that. You have come here because as per our Sanatana Dharma, you have created the need for yourself by your karma bandha. You got sanchita karma. You have taken the birth, because there is a karma for you to exhaust in this world. When you come and exhaust in this world, that is called prarabdha, because prarabdha is what you have to exhaust in this world. You are taking the birth, because there are in your account lot of karmas are there, sanchita karma. Because of that, you are coming and taking. How? The living is just exhausting the prarabdha karma, not exhausting in the sense you are trying to elevate yourself. You are trying to have the discriminating power to the utmost. So when you are able to do that, you go several layers above. So how it happens, because all these great acharyas, because Shankara Bhagavat-Vata, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, the Raghavendra Swami, all those, so many masters, all Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi, all those people, because when they have shown, they are a laboratory here. They have shown how a person can elevate themselves by giving attention to themselves so that, you know what is the important thing you will have to get into this world and all. You got the senses. It's not that you should be living in penury and you should be living in sort of all discomfort. You should have all those things, but you'll have to use it as a means to elevate yourself. There is nothing wrong in putting up an industry and become a billionaire and all, because as long as you are giving more than 100,000 people the employment and you are producing a lot of goods and services which is required for the economy grows. When the GDP grows, the people are supposed to be having because a better life and all. It is for the welfare of the. But when it happens, you are not thinking about because you are doing it as a passion. A industrialist has a passion to put up the industries. A scientist has got to put up a passion to bring in new things so that because they can be tested and tried, or you will try to find what is the better way to do it. Likewise, everyone does. Even a laborer, farm laborer also, he does have innovation. Every time cultivation is there, he changes because lot of undue influences come, the climatic changes come, the soil quality goes off. He also struggles, but we don't know that. Only when we are there, we are able to do that. But he cannot be getting into, he will be every year, he will have to get the bumper crop. He will not be able to get it because the soil condition gets changed because of our own actions. So likewise, because once we find a way out, how to do it and all, because when he does it, it's not done doing it himself. Because when he generates crop, finally it has to go to the public at large. Well, he will get the sort of whatever he has produced, he will have to be compensated, rent for it. Economy goes by the rent for everyone's effort, he gets it. But that is not the be all and all. He is doing it. A surgeon, when he does it, he just gives full attention. Because when he gives it, it's not bothered about likes or dislikes. He does it, where the patient, because he tries to give the best to the patient. But by result may be sometime good, sometime may not be so good. As long as he gives the best, that is the important. Likewise, a person working in the field, he gives his best to get the best crops. Finally, because so that there is no famine all around. If they don't work in the land, because where are we? We will not be having our daily grain. Daan mein likha hai khane wale ka naam. Your name is already written when something is grown somewhere. It is there. So therefore, it is in this context when you are putting in your effort without any, because when you are having a control of senses, when the goodness comes to you, when you are having all the good qualities by virtue of your own, you are composing yourself. Dharana, you are able to compose yourself. You are able to connect yourself. Everything happens, all the misfortune happens because we are not able to connect to ourselves. When we are not able to connect to ourselves, the entire energy gets dissipated, we are getting it. That is why, the chariot metaphor, we have seen how it is important to control the senses, control over the senses, not the control. Senses are, you will have to keep the senses robust. Your eyes will have to be as perfect as possible. If you have got, because some problem in the eye, get it, it's surgery. If you want, you get, whatever surgery you need it, astigmatism, everything, you get it, removed and you finally have a good, and here you have a problem, you have it set right. Your everything should be okay, because even your nose has a problem of taking, you are not able to do anything And that's why we talked about chakra meditation, how Muladhara helps to your nose, to take it, and how other chakras also help you, all your equipments to work. Chakra meditation is focusing on the particular chakras. The chakras are supposed to be in your Sushma Sarira just for the purpose of repetition only. Your glands are there in the body, the physical. The glands are being controlled by the chakras are nothing but the switches, the switch breakers, which gives the energy appropriately to the chakras by which you are able to get the energy. Likewise, we said, Shrotra, it is being controlled by your Swadhisthana, and then your Muladhara and Swadhisthana. Manipura is the one which is controlling, all your sort of your heart, because Anahata Chakra is controlling your heart. Manipura is the one controlling your eyes. And if you have got any eyes in the problem, Manipura Chakra will be able to, even if you have got an astigmatism, even if you have got some sort of a problem, and any sort of, because even after operation, you may have a problem. They say, you do the chakra meditation with focusing on Manipura, it will be through. And anything to do with your emotions, you are getting agitated as well as your heart, anything at all, Anahata Chakra is there. And then when finally coming to the throat chakra, when throat chakra comes, it is a controlling, in the whatever your the your walk, what you are able to speak, that has to be sort of a sweet, and it should not contain anything, which can make the other person to react adversely. You are in this world to give sweetness to everyone. That is because you are supposed to be an embodiment of happiness. You are supposed to be giving happiness to everyone by virtue of your speaking. Now, someone should not be hurt. That is what, it happens. It is not said everywhere and all. It is by practice only. After all, we will be reacting. Every time why we are able to speak, some words which we won't even like to do it is because we are not in our control. By habit, we are reacting. More you bring the reaction down and proact everything and see everything, with you give the benefit of doubt to everything. See, it's not that you always say premeditated, because someone is up to you, sort of harm you, or someone is up to sort of insult you. If you take it, then only it happens. Once you give the benefit of the doubt, even the insult will appear to be some sort of a panegyric to you. You will not be bothering, because it is something he says, because okay, that is his point of view, that is his mental condition. We don't know in what condition he is there. It is like that. This is what the chariot metaphor has been brought in. The chariot metaphor has been used in Greek mythology also. Here also we have used it. So that's what we have talked about, two words, Vijnanavan, Avijnanavan. Vijnanavan is the one, where you have got the discriminating ability to the highest. It is mantra 1.3.5 and 1.3.6. We have seen last week. I am just telling the words only to focus. Rest of them are same thing, what we have talked about since. Yasta Vijnanavan Bhavati. Then ayuktena, because when you are not able to be united, all the senses work in coordination. When you are not the soul and the intellect, everything is not in coordination, then the thing will go out of the place. It will fritter away. Whatever you are trying to do, will not be up to the mark. Because you are here to accomplish so many things, not for yourself. Because, there is a story, because like so many things have happened, the Chandrayaan 2, the Chandrayaan 3, finally we got through to the moon. Chandrayaan 2, there was also a lot of efforts put in. People have burnt midnight oil, so much of effort has been taken place. Everything was done. Finally, because we have learned, because when that was not as desired, it didn't have the, because go to the particular place, and there was some sort of a misstep was there. But then, we have learned from there. But we have not lost our heart. Again, we have just composed, collected ourselves, come back, with a bang. Now we are able to get back there. This is what in all this, because everyone, when you are putting an attachment, in the sense, taking everything personally, it is my project, I have to succeed, it is my thing and all, once you give it to them, because we will have to fine tune it, we will have to learn by experience. What you learn from the experience is the chitta, the knowledge, or the intellect. That gives you the discriminating power. What you are trying to, because then a bad experience need not be abhorred, because it must have taught you a lesson. Not only that, you would have learned a lot of things. Maybe, because some knowledge, which was wanting, we didn't have. We have got that. Chandra in 3 minutes, because it is the great, contribution of our scientists, they have learned from there and all. This is exactly what happened, as Abdul Kalam has narrated in one of his first missile mission was not success. Everyone, they came to that, and Satish Dhawan was the chairman at the time, it seems. The Satish Dhawan sent, and because he asked all the boys to come, and you be there, and I will take care of it. He said, because one of the wonderful thing has happened, we have got so many information which we otherwise would not have known by this particular, the launch. It is a failed launch. Failed launch in the sense it has not accomplished what it was desired. But of course, they have got a lot of data, and they have got what the expected, what really happened, because all those things, were really different. But they gave them the sort of a further, knowledge to them, because they could correct a lot of things. So likewise, it was step. Next time when the same experiment, because they did it and succeeded, and Satish Dhawan asked the person who is in charge at the time, maybe it was Abdul Kalam and another person. He asked them to handle the entire, because it's not that he has not taken it personally. It's my project, it's people's project and all. Without attachment, everyone gives the best. Because in the Chandrayaan-3 projects also, all the scientists, they have given their best to their utmost. The other projects will also be accomplishing, because they are trying to give the best without really bogged down by it is our project, how people will think. That is all their problem, not our problem. People may say so many things, because that I think the country doesn't have the wherewithal and all. We will prove our wherewithal as time comes. We have got the wherewithal. We will do it. You should have self-confidence in yourself. If you don't have the self-confidence, you will not be able to infuse self-confidence in anyone else. That's what it says. So that's why Vijnanavan Muktya Manasa Sada. You will only be worried about if you are attaching yourself to the project or the cause and everything and all. You will only be thinking about yourself and not about the project. You will not be learning from anything. The purpose is to learn from that. And tasya indriyen avashyati dushta ashva. Dushta ashva in the sense one is which is not in control. Once you give attachment, it takes away. But once you don't give an attachment, you work on that. Like all our scientists who worked, and from Chandrayaan-2, they were brought into Chandrayaan-3 a glory. Because that is what it's really aimed at. It is at the group level, the individual level also the same thing. You should not be bogged down by anything. So you should not always be looking for a brownie point everything what you do. You simply be doing, because you enjoy that doing and you are doing it. The very purpose, you are excited to doing, you want to give excellence to that. That's what. Dexterously as possible you are doing it without attending and sort of, the errors in that, attended defects in that you are able to get as best as possible. This is what exactly, so 1.3.5, 1.3.6, it's Vijnanavan Bhavati. At that time, it's not Dushtashva, it's a Sadashva, it takes you to the highest level, because you have not, attached anything to, you are trying to do, because if Chandrayaan-4, next time it comes, you will be finding little more wonders, because we would have done, and we have done everything without the help of anyone. This is what our earlier ISRO chairman Kasturi Rangan has to say. We have all developed our indigenous. It's not because without having self-confidence, how we could have developed. This is exactly a sort of a lesson, which has happened in our own eyes. This is exactly nothing but the same thing that this Kathopanishad says, 1.3.5 and 1.3.6. So when we say, because this is the process, how to control over the mind, how to be non-attached, all these things, because these are all the questions that is always being bothering everyone. It's not, because you say something like that, but, after this session, after some time, because I have to be bogged down. Lot of things that is bothering me. How am I to do it? This is what happens. See, scientifically, they say, because all these people, who are nowadays, they are able to scan and do everything and all. Scientifically, they say there are 4 types of mind. There is a soul mind. Soul mind is the one which dominant center of the consciousness. Consciousness, because how the life comes into, because how we have all come into this world. When we were conceived in the womb, first few weeks, what we get, slowly the consciousness, little consciousness comes. Because your heart has to beat. The first formation of any womb is the heart. The heart has to beat. To beat, it has to get the signals. for a long time, because we were not knowing how it is happening and all. In 1990 only, a lady got a Nobel Prize telling there is a DNA in your heart also. There is a cell in the heart also. It need not necessarily be getting it from the brain, because brain forms later. So that gives the soul mind, because why it is called the heart becomes so important. In our scriptures also say, finally when we say the soul or the jiva, chitta, intellect and all, they are all resident in your chitta, everything in the resident in your heart, in the sushma sarira, not in this heart. In this heart, gives rise to pumping the blood, and because getting in purifying the blood and getting the oxygen, that it does. The sushma sarira, because we have got 5 koshas. The annamaya kosha is the one, what we are having is sthula sarira. In pranamaya kosha it is there. So, and that one is forming in the very first few days of the womb. The next is the body mind. It is just about, it is there, it slowly develops. The brain slowly develops, giving the command as it forms. As it forms slowly, when it is how to give the command, first to help the heart to get the signal, and slowly when the body parts are formed, how to give the signals to that, give signals to the nerve centers, all those things, cerebral, and all those things, it's cerebrum, that all takes place slowly. It takes place up to 2 years. The brain formation, the scientifically they say it almost takes 2 years. It is there, because the empirical level, and slowly it gets full form, by the 2 years. And the emotional mind, because emotional mind, what they call it, because the first one is 10 to 12 weeks, it takes place and it goes up to 2 years. And the emotional mind is the one, which is what they call limbic mind, which is able to take the emotions. Emotions are based on the instincts. See, if a small fly come and sit on your hand, you don't have to take any specific action. Instinctively, you just drive it down with your hands. That instinct comes, because the limbing part of the brain that takes place, because it almost like, after it takes instantly, and it develops up to 7 to 8 years. The development starts from 2 years. This is what scientifically they say. The rational mind, what we call about discriminating, knowing whether it is right or wrong, it all takes place 5, 6 years onwards. Then it continues till the end. And finally, what they say, because what you are doing, once you have developed all these things, you are into this work. So scientifically, all this belief, the instinct, and the unconscious, unconsciously, because when you think of them, because the dream, because dream is subconscious, but it's not unconscious. When you are unconscious, you are totally, because you are not active, because you will have to be revived. And subconscious is the one where you have got all your underlying thoughts, attitudes, everything forms. And finally, the conscious mind, that the conscious mind is the one finally gives the power to discriminate. Whereas conscious mind, because that is because they say, because the right side of the mind and left side of the mind, we use only one part of the mind and the other part of the mind is not used. The conscious is only about 10%. They say rest of them are 90%. That's all, they say and all. But when we come into philosophically, it is same thing, because it's being said differently and all. So once you have all these attitude and once you form that, the discriminating ability, once you do that, why you are doing the discriminating, Shreyas, Prayas, why, what is the purpose? Is finally you are getting back to your soul mind, which is formed within few weeks of your womb. The whatever innocence, whatever purity you had is slowly lost by the development of the habits, attitudes, thinking and everything and all, by which, you have angularities formed, you got likes, dislikes formed. Because of the like, dislikes, because then, so many things happens. Then, you become, either they have, once becomes a habit, you are not able to give up. To do the, to give away the habit, you will have to take a special effort. Like, you become a smoker. If you become an addictive smoker, it is a habit, but then you will have to take the specific efforts for that. If you are drunkard, you will have to do that. Drug addict, because you will have to be rehabilitated, and all those things will have to be taken. These are all taken only through this effort. That's what they say, because the thing is, once you are able to give the attention to this, whatever is happening, the discriminating ability. And once you are able to identify and all, because you don't give attention to the other one which doesn't matter to you. You will not be unnecessarily talking where, it doesn't involve, because you can talk about so many things. There could be discussion about so many things. There could be argument like your TV channel. Purposeless argument takes place in the airtime is wasted, time and energy is wasted. You can watch that. He said that, and all. Because everyone is trying to have his own logic. Logic doesn't have the constancy. There is no logic which is said this is the only logic that is provable and there's to stand in the world. Because everyone can have a logic because based upon your attitude. That is why the Upanishad said, na tarkena apyate, because you will not be able to matirapaneya apyate, because matirapaneya, na tarkena matirapaneya, by logic you will not be getting to these things. Logic, because what you fold, no, because we are all, human beings are all, what are all we are all our born canvassers for our own causes. Once you are committed to your cause, you will be canvassing for that cause, come what may. So once you canvass for that cause, you will find a logic for that. The logic is because, it need not necessarily be, good, or it need not necessarily be, because good to everyone and all. Because you are convinced, you have got you want to canvass that, because I want to bring a new product. And it may have some sort of a defects also, because still I bring it, because likewise, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, is they have brought it, because is it good for it? It's a sugary drink, nothing more than that. But today is the world's number one and number two in the first top 10 companies are there and all. They have made it into a habit. And you can always say, because now the Diet Coke, this Coke, and Zero Coke, 100 Coke, and all those Cokes have come and all, because it does not make you into the habit and all. Once you know, you don't need any sugary drink, because it's a Coke or anything like that and all. It is you who have to decide that. Because the world offers you all these things. It's not that, you should not take it. If you enjoy it, take it. But once you take it, don't get addicted to that. That's what. Because if you think, it is okay, once in a while I am taking it and all. Likewise, once you are convinced, but since we are born convincers for own, even if something is not desirable to other person, you will be doing it because you have got an agenda. How the agenda has come, you have got a desire. The desire why it has come because the thoughts have come. The thoughts have come because you had the perception was there. Perception has come because the cognition has come. To cut at the cognition level, because what these things are being talked about, what this chitta vritti nirodha, which our yoga says, which is impossible to achieve in the current world. Despite that, what we do is when you try to give attention to something, if something is not important, just leave it out. The thoughts will come. Leave it out. Thoughts will come because cognition is there. You've got the instincts, belief, and everything comes in. But how you have to conduct yourself in the world, that moral code of conduct you have determined. Your moral code of conduct may be different from mine. Because each one of us are evolving. How each one of us, because then we look up to the masters who have done it. How Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has behaved himself. How Ramana Maharshi has behaved himself. How Shankaracharya has brought in this world, despite the odds, how, because they have not taken it. Like Jesus Christ, even when he has come, he has been put into cross and all. How he has been. Likewise, when you are able to see, there are laboratories, there are living laboratories where they have demonstrated how you can live in this world. So therefore it is not, because what happens is finally what we have to do, because when we are dealing with any human being or any person or any process or any other being also, we will have to mind. It is Immanuel Kant, one Western philosopher. I always quote that, because never think of other being as a means. Give a complete respect to other being as you will be giving it to yourself. That's what it says. So once you know that, because don't use them, because after all, because why, a teenager is going after a girl, because, because he thinks, his, perhaps, his pleasure and satisfaction is with this girl. And nothing more than that. So is a girl with us, because likewise, there are so many things and all, because someone goes for something, because even a lot of gutka is being sold. The gutka is being sold. Gutka is not good for human health, but people still do it, it's a business proposition. You take it as a business proposition because you don't consider the moral aspect of it. Once you are able to bring yourself, because there are some people who decide if this is the business we will never get into. So that's what happens. Even nowadays, a lot of investors, they only, if the carbon footprint is not there, then only they invest. It has come to that. That's why a lot of oil companies, they are not getting the investment and all. They are reorganizing the business. It is forcing them to reorganize. So the climate, there is a realization all over the world, because the planet may not be same, as it would be if it continues like this and all. Because there is a population growth, there is a growth and all. So we were 40 crores, in 65. The Tamil song says, we were only 40 crores. Today we have had 100 crores within a period of 65 to within 60 years, we have had 100 crores. And whereas before that, you see in a few centuries, it is only constant up to 19th century, up to 9. It is only a linear line. Now it is non-linear, it is going up just like that, because it is stock market. It goes like that and all. Because how it happened, because it is all, they say, one of the things what because Shankar may be able to appreciate, it is, but they brought the fertilizer, the nitrogenous fertilizer, urea, which is brought in. It has given a lot of nitrogen fixation. In view of that, a lot of food production has taken place, and food production has given the ability of virility to the mankind, and that's how it has taken place. It has not taken place, and lifespan has expanded. A lot of the medications have come, because you can live even beyond 100 also. It is not unusual to see people living beyond 100. That's good. It has happened. But then, all these things have happened. But then, you will have to, because more the human beings, in the sense, more, the moral code of conduct will have to be there for them to behave in this world. So that's what had happened. It all happened because our own action. We invented the urea, we brought it. It's good. But at the same time, because we have also invented plastic, so it has gone the other way around, because it is going anti-nitrogen fixation. So they are not, because likewise, that is also done by human being and all. Because with certain set of the moral code of conduct, the human mind has worked as a group. And when you say, because my country should be prosperous, in the sense you are forgetting about the world and you are living in this world and the planet is yours, you are also going to suffer and the planet suffers. That has not come from the developed countries. When they went about, they wanted to show their might, their power and all. But finally, everyone is suffering. Nowadays, today's we are not able to control any of the viruses. Even the BA 2.68, they are telling, that someone is coming about. There's been discussions are going on. I understand, some incidents have taken place in South Africa, Bombay, and other places, and even in US, certain things are. Likewise, these things are bound to happen. It's all our own actions. It is not only our actions, it is action to everyone. In this only, it is once people are having a good, because no country needs good laws. It needs only good people with the moral values. That's what, then you don't need any good laws and all. So then when the discussions takes place, when the society emerges with the common purpose, the world will be a better place to live. So in this only, each individual has a role to play, and even the group has a role to play, society has a role to play, nation has a role to play. That a great concept has been brought about in Kathopanishad. So for instance, because when something good has to happen, because you will not be always able to do by force. You'll have to do it, with the sort of a convincing, talking to people, because everyone has got their own interests. We are all born canvassers of our own causes. So we will have to talk to them in this way, and it will appear. Because I will just close with one small instances. We have gone to Chandrayaan, but when Vikram Sarabhai thought about the entire space research organization, he went to a place called Tumba. Some of us, may be remembering the name, because Tumba is in Kerala. And he chose Tumba for the first launch of the first rocket he wanted to launch for studying the electrons and all. Because it is the Tumba was closer to the geomagnetic equatorial place. And when they went there, he was, because he was so convinced, at the time, we just have to know, because how Vikram Sarabhai is fired up, because he was having a lot of ideas and he was encouraged by Homi Baba incidentally and all. And when Sputnik, became talk of the town, and because even before Americans, Sputnik was a success story of USSR. At that point of time, he told his people we should be second to none, because that is what, at that time, we didn't have any basic infrastructure whatsoever to do all these experiments. He chose Tumba to have a small rocket, which was carried on the carrier of a bicycle. You can see the photograph, it is still there. And they went there, and when they went there, the place they have chosen, they were having a church, the Saint Magdalene Church, Mary Saint Magdalene Church, and it was a place, it's close by the seashore. A lot of fishermen, because we were all Christians, because by virtue of, see, everyone becomes adopt the religion because of the livelihood or the culture in that place. They all, but they were all, because fishermen, they go into the sea and they don't know whether they will come back, alive next day in the earth, because they go into that, because they will have to face everything. They need to have all these equipments to guide them and all. So this church was catering to those fishermen and all. So Sarabhai, Vikram Sarabhai and his team at that point of time, because along with Vikram Sarabhai, Dr. Kalam was there, and a few more scientists were there. They all went and approached Bishop Pereira. We want this particular church, because this is the place exactly, is coming into the closer to the geomagnetic equator, and we will have to do that. And all. He said, let me talk to. He was a very kind person, Bishop Pereira. He said, Vikram, I understand your point of view, because you also please understand my plight, because I'm catering to all these people who doesn't understand, either they come, every day they pray in the church and go into the sea. Next day when they come alive, they again, with the gratitude, they come to the church. This is the place where they are living in. Suddenly you want to take, because this is the only fold they have every day to come back and pray. And you want to take me out, what am I to do? Because let me. Then he asked the entire team to come on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock to the church, when there will be a mass. So when they came, he asked them to be seated, because along with the other fishermen also, I think hundreds of them, because thousands of them. It's a big area at that point of time. So when he was talking to that, and children, because we are having the Sunday and we are happy, all of you are back, after your venture into the sea, this and that he talked about. And he said, look, because all of us, we are able to get that, because now you are getting you are having all wooden boats. Slowly, now we are trying to mechanize boats. Slowly other things will all come. These are all coming because there are a lot of people working for us, developing that, and they are giving it to us. So with this facility, we are able, even the mic through which I am speaking, it has been developed by someone. I am able to speak so large a crowd. Likewise, that also have taken place. Once we are having a spiritually praying and giving gratitude to the God, likewise, there are other set of people working for our own benefit. So then he said, because in view of this, children, there are some people, some scientists have come. They also want to do a lot of things, like, because we will be able to get a lot of benefit out of that. So this place is needed for them. I also was thinking, because God is creating both, because we will have to give the benefit as well as some people to work for our benefit. They have come here. So will we be able to, because I wonder, if we can give, they will be able to do their job and our life will be much better. And we will also be able to, and our own place will become a historic place in due course. This is what he told. He just left it to the response from such a big crowd. 5 minutes there was somnolent silence. No one was reacting, it seems. And Vikram Sarabhai first, went to the government. Normally the acquisition route, they said, look, this is a very, very sensitive issue. We will not come back. If at all, you manage yourself, you are a central, because state government will not interfere in central government project. You talk to your people, do whatever you want. And all. Finally, one person, said, better, go and talk to the bishop concerned. He's a good man. He will also listen to you. See what best he can. If he helps, it's well and good. Finally, when he gave this, and because the bishop had a lot of goodwill among all these people, because they had a belief in him. Because when you are taught, people should be willing to believe. They will be able to believe when you don't have an agenda, and when you are able to, when you don't use them as the means. Because they all have the belief. This is what Immanuel Kant has said. They had the full belief in him. Finally, when he asked the question, should we be, because should we be giving this, for the benefit of the development? What these children are? They are also our children. They are also God's children. Vikram Sarabhai and they have also come here to work for that. Will we be able to give it to them, children? And they said after 5 minutes, there's a resounding amen. That is how they got it, and within a year, as promised, Vikram Sarabhai has taken. Normally, it doesn't take place in government projects. You promise and never takes place. Within a year, he put up such a state-of-the-art facility for the fishermen, and the school, hospital, all the benefits, and he sort of stuck to his word, saw to that it is being done before, because everything happens there. So this is how, the first project took a venture. When the first rocket, which was carried on a carrier of a bicycle, was launched to study the electrons in the stratosphere. So this is how, today, of course, we are in Chandrayaan, and the lander, the rover is being named after him as Vikram and all. This is just to recollect how people have worked, how the bishop has worked, how the Vikram Sarabhai could go, and because he didn't give up, because even when the political force and the state forces have given up, because we can't help you in this, he has gone about and get it done. So likewise, this is, once you have the purpose to that, there is no selfishness in these things. Vikram Sarabhai has not done anything, but the bishop has not done for his purpose. Everyone wanted towards a common purpose. Once it comes there, so naturally, once you give your thought to that, whatever you will do will be excellence. The excellence will be for the benefit of everyone, not for yourself. It flows out. So when the happiness comes, when the emotions flow out of you, tranquility, emotions, sort of, the recollected in tranquility is the poetry, what Wordsworth says. It will have to overflow. The happiness will have to overflow. Then only, you will be in bliss. It is not that, you're eating a rasgulla and a few minutes, you have a bliss, happiness. That's not a bliss. Always at any point of time, because the emotions will have to overflow through you. This is what the entire, the particular mantra 1.3.6 says. We will see the next two mantras in tandem next week to know the better concept. And not only that, this chapter is very important. As I was telling you, at the end of the third Valli, it is only the middle of the Upanishad. We have got 3 more Vallis to go. In third Valli, end of the Valli, there is a Palashruti. What is the benefit you will get out of this Upanishad is said in the third Valli itself. The Upanishad doesn't wait you to know what is the benefit you will get till the completion of the Upanishad. It is in the middle of the Upanishad at the end of the third Valli itself. That we will see that. With this, we will try to close. Today, I have taken a Suttam, Varuna Suttam, because we are in Varsha Ritu. Though we are having a floods in most of the cities, but a lot of our sort of village areas, where the agriculture, there is no rain. There is a lack of rain even in some parts of the Telangana, Andhra Pradesh also. I think Varuna Suttam is the one, because we are in Varsha Ritu and it's a Shravana Masam, and we will be having the Varuna. Varuna is also the one who is controlling the entire world. He has got a responsibility and he is having 1,000 eyes overseeing everything, whatever is happening and all. He is sort of a moral guide and guard. He is the one, who can punish, because when the rain is not there, they say Varuna is punishing because so much of sort of a lot of chaos is taking place and the people are not up to the mark. Moral values have come down. So likewise, in view of this, we will be taking Varuna Suttam immediately after that. I will be closing this session now and we will be going to the meditation immediately. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunak.